Recording. Yeah. Aloha. Welcome to Wisdom Dialogues Online. Woo! With Hope Johnson. Coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yay. Yay. I'm so grateful. So many beautiful unfoldings. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. One of my friends shared with me this past week that he was dealing with some form of cancer. And he was really triggered by some of my thoughts, some of my talks, because I'm always talking about how sickness isn't a reality and it's an election, you know. And so then he asked to speak with me, and I spoke with him, and he said, yeah, he was triggered, but he kept on going back, and he didn't know I was going back, but he was going back. And then at one point it clicked for him, and he just said, shit, I'm not sick. And then he went, you know, he immediately felt relieved that he didn't have to hold on to that, like my sickness. And you can tell you're holding on to something if you're getting triggered by hearing that. Like anytime you get every time you get a trigger, it's because you're holding on to something. Nothing's going to trigger you if you're not holding on to something about it. You know, it's just not like that. So anyways, he kept on coming, and he decided that he wasn't sick. So he went back to the hospital, and they checked his blood, and it showed on his blood that he indeed was no longer sick. So, you know, it's like it really is that. It really is coming from the mind. And that's the thing. It's like we're it's like we're holding the mind accountable. We're holding our own mind accountable for whatever it is we're perceiving, you know. We're not like the ego's way is to hold other people accountable, right? Hold them accountable to their word and all different stuff. And really what it is hold your mind accountable for the illusions that it's making. And, you know, in that you're watching what's playing out, and you get to see the choice that you're making for illusions. And see, the thing is, once the mind is purified of an illusion, it can't hold on to sickness. It can't, like, it's not in that, it's not in that vibration, let's say. It's not in that vibration. So irrespective of any kind of medical treatment, doctor's visits, anything like that, the main let's say the most important action is the action in the mind. Okay, that's the most important action when it comes to perceiving an illusion, for healing what's making the illusion. You know, what's making the illusion is a guilty self-belief. And, you know, guilt isn't possible. So there's no cause for a guilty self-belief. There's no cause for it. But that doesn't mean there's not a whole bunch of belief in it. And see, we're tempted all throughout the experience, all day and all night, to re-believe in the guilty self-concept. And re-believing in the guilty self-concept entails just making an illusion that's a reflection of that content into a reality. See? So you know when you are making it into a reality because you feel upset, and that's all it is. And you notice when you feel upset, and you're willing to have your mind healed, purified, corrected. See? So for most people, and especially people who are conditioned in a way that whatever source, whatever created this world, we must deserve things like sickness and death, since, God, source, whatever, created this world, like this world has been created. And the thing is, what came up big for this week is like, how in the world did we get to where we believe that a benevolent creator, benevolent is not capable of thinking in terms of death and destruction, benevolent. Okay. How could a benevolent creator have created this world that we're having a perception of? It's like when we admit that it's actually a misperception, it's actually because of the way we take ourselves to be something that we're not, that we seem to be this thing. We seem to be this thing that we're getting a sense of, a body sense. And remember, the sense that you're getting of the world comes from a body sense. It's interpreted energy. It comes from you. So and what makes that body sense is the structure of thought. So it's just a structure of thought that you identify with. There's all these different thought patterns that circle your mind over and over again. And the more you identify with those, the more you prop up this image and make it vulnerable to illusions, to include sickness, conflict, a sense of not enough. What's a good word for that? Scarcity, a scarcity sense, So we set up through this illusion, this concept, this self-concept, as if it is a reality, because we're getting a sense of it. It's like we're in it, right? It's like we're in this body. It is just like that. It seems like that, although no one is outside of ourselves. So that sense that we're getting of a body is where the projection of the world is coming from. That's the body's the first manifestation of it. It's the first manifestation. And out of that, the body sense, there's a world. That's its world. That's the body's world. That's the world you set up for the body. You're not the body or the world. But the body and world, they have a really good reason for being there, or seeming to be there. They're not even there. The body and world. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for coming. The body and world, they only seem to be there because you need them to seem to be there, because they're bringing up a reaction within you. Every perception that you have is bringing up a reaction in you. And every thought is also perceiving. So when you're thinking about something, a thought that you're following, also there's a reaction. Okay. So your just willingness to be with those reactions right there in the moment, on the energetic level, and just like embracing in an embracing way, kind of like you're opening to them, you're embracing the sensations. Thank you to the sensation. See, it doesn't mean you're saying yes to everything that comes your way. It's not like that. Manifest no is the same thing as a manifest yes. When there's a sense of peace within the manifestation, and what allows for that sense of peace is the willingness to open up, to feel the sensation, get the sensation as it is. What we tend to do as a habit is run to thoughts to try to correct the sensation in that way, as if something in the world could get us a better feeling, as if we can get something in the world to cure that feeling. And all that does is kind of stuff it. It stuffs it down. So if we're able to just get the feeling, all the things, all the doing and everything in the world, that's just taking care of itself anyways. So it can come from a feeling that's all inclusive, all embracing. It can come from that. and and when it does, you'll see that the perception changes, and it doesn't mean that initially anything like you could document on the surface might change, but the way you are being with it changes first, where it's just not bothering you anymore. That thing, whatever it was, whatever seemed to be the nag, it's just not bothering you anymore. Kind of like when I used to live by someone who played the electric guitar, and I thought I wanted to take a nap, and I thought I was so bothered by that, like I needed to do something about that. And I said, well, wait a minute, it's coming from me actually. And I just really innocently just wanted to get the sensation, the perception, the experience that it is coming from me, more than I wanted to sleep. I wanted to get the experience that it was coming from me. So I laid down, and and it was a kind of sound like, it didn't sound good. It was like, it was squeaky and squealy and just like ridiculously loud. Okay, like that. Some really good background music though. We had some nice like 70s rock and roll background music, but the guitar was just like all over the place. So anyways, I get the experience that it is coming from me first, and it's just like I'm so curious about it and so interested in it, and then it starts to feel really good, and then the next thing I know, I'm asleep. I mean, next thing I know, I wake up from sleep. It's quiet. The guitar's not even playing anymore, and I'm just like, oh wow, I do have dominion over the world. It's not like anything can affect me. It has no power to affect me. Any power that it seems to have to affect me is power that I gave to it willingly. Okay. And it really doesn't have that power. I'm only dreaming that it has that power. I'm wishing, let's say that I'm wishing it had the power that I think it has. It's a wish. So nothing really has any power except for power that I assign to it. And see, the thing is, I don't try to assign any power to anything. I know I already assign power to way too many things. So my focus is on unassigning power to the shit I've assigned any power to. Like, I don't want to give it any kind of power. If something seems to have any kind of power for me, find myself taking vitamin C. If something seems to have some kind of power for me, and I don't even know what kind of power I'm thinking I'm ascribing to that shit. I don't even know. I just get a perception of myself taking vitamin C, and I know that any effects that I get will be coming from the mind and not the vitamin C. And yet I still perceive myself taking the vitamin C, which is fine with me. That's totally fine with me. I mean, the consciousness of Hope Johnson is just allowed to play out in whatever way it needs to play out. Who am I to fucking judge it? I would have to be able to cast judgment from this perception, know everything. And then if I knew everything, if I really knew everything, I mean, come on, a benevolent creator, basically it didn't even happen. So what's the judge? Marina, you're getting tattooed while listening. That is great. I love that. My daughter Akea, I don't know if you guys are familiar. If you're not familiar with my daughter Akea, she is a full-on Disney girl. She grew up Disney. We lived in Southern California for her whole childhood. She had year passes there all the time. When she got out of Southern California, and we're over here, and then she's like, I want a tattoo like Pocahontas's armband. So, and Mom, I want you to be there, and I want you to be giving me Reiki. In case you guys don't know what Reiki is, I mean, one way to describe it is you're kind of like opening up to compassion and allowing it to be extended through you. Yeah, at that time, it was known to me as Reiki. I became a Reiki master and stuff like that. So anyways, Marina, you are automatically getting Reiki. That's how that goes right now. So that's fun. May your tattooing be easeful and joyful. And may your mind interpret all of the sensations as pleasurable. Yay. Yep. So I got a call from my sister, who I haven't heard from in a super long time. It was super fun to hear from her. She's my sweet youngest sister, maybe like 7 years younger than me. And my dad, who is in the Philippines, who's a missionary, is going all around doing faith healings and stuff like that. He seems to be in the hospital with COVID and all this other shit too, like everything. And she said, we're trying to get him back. We're trying to get him back to the States. And yeah. And I heard that, he got so sick because he was waiting for Jesus to heal him. And, he didn't want to go to the hospital or anything like that. And of course, that's never the case. Anyone like it gets a perception of sickness, all that is misbelief. It's misbelief. It's not so much that he was just expecting Jesus to heal him. It's that he believed in the symptoms. So when you're asking for relief from a symptoms, that's completely different than asking for relief from a mindset. Okay, so it's like, and here's the thing, when these things come up, it's not bad. It doesn't mean you're guilty or anything. When these things come up, they're for a deep healing. See, and it's not like there's any hierarchy in like what can be healed and what cannot be healed. I mean, even if someone got a limb cut off, that could be healed just as easily as a cold, really. It's just that we take these things to be more difficult to heal. We would take certain things to be more difficult to heal. So I asked my friends, and I'm asking you too, if you feel inspired to join me with, joining with my dad's mind that may be bombarded right now. My sense is that it's getting bombarded, especially if he's in a hospital, by people believing that these diagnoses, these insane diagnoses are actually true. Okay. So it's like kind of like uplifting a brother and yourself, of course, by just mentally, psychically, in a heart-centered kind of way, however you want to look at it. It's different for everyone, but to kind of like join his mind in the acknowledgement of what's truth, kind of like accepting the truth for him, whereas you're actually accepting it for yourself and the whole mind. So basically all sickness that you get a perception of in the world will be healed when you're ready, and you become ready by basically teaching your mind. That's basically everyone, your mind, by teaching your mind what's true. That doesn't mean you have to go out and teach in the common sense that but in teaching your mind by looking mentally at how you're either perpetuating an illusion or you're allowing it to be corrected. Okay, so you could be part of the correction. So you get the perception of an illusion. Oh, it seems like Hope's father is in the hospital and has COVID and all these other things. You look at that illusion and, basically judge it with the spirit. Wait for the spirit to give you the judgment that's true. Wait for the spirit to show you what's really true. If you wait for that clear It's a clear understanding, because there's a sensation that goes along with it of deep release. That's how you know. That's how you know you've got a clear understanding. See, we as humans have been training ourselves to believe that we're not really capable of that deep relief, or we're not worthy of it. We're not really worthy of that deep relief. And really, that's where the answer comes, where that's going to be allowed. And the triggers are all opportunities, because the greater the trigger, the greater the relief. And the greater the relief, the greater the amount and the potency of wisdom that can come through. Okay. And you know, the whole mind and the power of the mind opens up to you in that way, where you just know that you're certain that this is for awakening and not anything else. So it can go however it goes. There's no judgment on, and that includes the manifest form that seems to be who you are. And your projected mind with all of its individual traits, all of its uniqueness. And see, that projected mind, the projected mind is the one you think you are in this world, okay? There's nothing wrong with having a one that you think you are in this world. If there wasn't a one that you think you are in this world, there would be no perception of a self and world like this. You want this perception of self and world in order to heal the guilty self-concept. So hold that person that you seem to think you are lightly, because the way you relate with that person, you're actually relating with that self-image. You're relating with it. So the way you're relating with it is either love or fear. You're either projecting condemnation onto it, or you're accepting it as it is. See? Notice how that choice is being made all the time. Okay? And once you're aware that the choice is being made all the time, your relationship with all of your thoughts starts to change. Now, my last wisdom dialogues in person is called Who's Asking? The title is Who's Asking? You can get that one on Spotify or any of those podcast stations, or my website, hopejohnson.org. It's like, who is asking why I'm doing this? Why are you doing this? Who is asking? See? Who can that be but the ego that wants to know why? Watch. Just watch. The motivation for anything that you find yourself doing, no matter what it is a choice that you're making in the moment. You're choosing to use this manifestation for awakening the mind, or you're choosing to use the same manifestation for extending time. Two choices: awaken, shorten time; darken your mind, extend time. The conditioning of the world is that we're not enough. We don't have enough. We haven't become enough. We haven't learned enough. We haven't loved enough. The entire process of awakening is aimed at revealing that none of that stuff you thought ever happened. You've never been modified from the truth that you are. You think you modified yourself. Let's put it like that. And look, for the majority of us, we're still modifying ourselves to fit in with an insane world. See, it's like you just have to keep on pretending more and more and more and more. Let's just keep on pretending more and more until we're kind of like punching ourselves in the face. You know, I was talking with a web design guy. By the way, I'm super stoked about that. I'm going over to Shopify with Miracle Botanicals. This is super exciting. But anyways, he's in Florida. And he's like, we're on opposite ends of the United States. We're totally on opposite ends. And I go, yeah. And we're also on opposite ends when it comes to COVID enforcement stuff. He goes, yeah, that's for sure. He goes, you know what? It's like the numbers don't lie over here. Everyone is doing so well over here. Like where all our businesses are thriving, our COVID numbers keep on going down. We're freaking stoked over here. And I'm like thinking, well, I don't know anything about what's going on with all the businesses and everything like that. I noticed they're not allowed to have that much business, so that probably cuts down on it. But you know, it's like you just like freedom in the mind, and you can see it in the manifestation. Freedom in the mind equals abundance. Freedom in the mind equals health. That's just how it goes. I mean, you can see it. There's an experiment going on right now. It's like a fun little experiment. Okay, you got all these states that are doing all these precautions, like there's something in the air that's gonna get us, you know. Woo, woo, scary. Like there's something in the air that's going to get us. And how is that working out for us? You know, basically, how's that been working out for us? What I see is, and this is really exciting too. I mean, I'm stoked, absolutely stoked, and grateful to be in a state, to seem to be in a state, and a mental state. It is a mental state. A physical state is a mental state. To be in a state where there's the most strict COVID restrictions, I think, in the whole United States. I'm pretty sure in the whole United States. And, you know, I find it to be such a blessing, because here's what I see. Number one, people are going out, getting pushed out of their comfort zone, and they're opening up to, okay, what's the deal? What is this finally? What the heck is this? You know, what is this thing? And that's one part of it. Another thing that I see is now there's all these people making these independent farmers markets, and they're even doing some kind of legal documents where they have a private association so that they're not subject to laws. I'm not sure exactly how that worked. I looked into it a little bit, but yeah, it's just really interesting. People are exchanging seeds. People are growing more. People are getting to know their neighbors a lot more. And, you know, around here, we're pretty good at growing. We're pretty good with growing. You probably noticed behind me, there's all kinds of food there behind me. And, you know, we've only been here a year and a half. So it's just like, it keeps on exploding like that. It's like the world we were in, that we consider the normal world, is not the world that's worthy of us. That was not the world that was worthy of us in the first place. So, you know, it's kind of like over there in Florida, they're not having any restrictions or anything. So everyone's just going along as normal over there. There's not as much of a push to awaken as there is here in Hawaii right now. That's like a pretty good push for a lot of people, you know, and even the people who have been in the fear for a while, some of them are starting to pop. They're just starting to wake up. They're going, wow, okay, I see. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, this is not what I thought it was. All right, awesome. And, you know, and more, and as you see that this whole facade, you know, it's like, don't be scared. Don't be scared of witnessing this. This is what, you know, what we made. We made this facade. We erected this facade that we call government, because in our mind, we traded sovereignty for duality, right? We traded sovereignty, knowing with certainty that all of creation was coming to us, by us, from us, no separation. We traded that for perceiving in duality. Why, you ask? We got the perception that we were unworthy of reality. Aloha, Jill. Thank you for joining. We got the perception that we were unworthy of reality. So we made ourselves a place we could go to avoid death for a little while. For a little while. Eternal beings. It is funny, Anne. You can laugh. Laugh out loud if you want. So we get perceptions of things, and the thing is, we just keep on making the same mistake over and over and over again, and that is we forget to laugh. we get a perception, ego questioning, you know, do you really think that you were you were respectful enough? Let's say anything, throw anything out there. Do you really think that you were respectful enough with that person? It's like, who's asking? See, it really is like that, because it's like a bunch of self-judgment that we've been taught. You don't need to ask anything about the way you're perceiving yourself manifesting. Just get the experience of it and you're innocent. So basically you're being taught through your perception that you're completely innocent within everything you perceive. That means too that everyone else is innocent. In fact, when you perceive anyone else as if they lack innocence, that's 100% about you. Don't be fooled by that, because that projection seeming to be going outward and onto them actually goes nowhere. It remains in your mind and it wreaks havoc for you. It causes you to suffer, because when you get the perception that someone lacks innocence and you don't take responsibility for making that up, you are the one who gets left in fear of punishment, and you make illusions of punishment because you secretly believe that you deserve that. Okay? This whole thing is just crazy, says my good friend Jill Gassner. Who gives a shit if you're vaccinated? Who gives a shit if you're not? I don't care, as long as you are happy. People are getting weird. And that's the thing, Jill. You know, who gives a shit? You know, my son is vaccinated, and it's so fun because in the sovereignty circles, when I say something like that, people feel bad for me because the research that they've done, and I know this research, I'm familiar with it. The research that they've done basically says my son is fucked. That guy's fucked, right? According to their worldview. Well, here's the thing. All worldviews are insane, okay? All worldviews are insane. And that's even the very best worldview. You know why? Because it is a worldview in the first place. There is no world like this. So, so let's consider all worldviews, any worldview, doesn't matter what worldview you choose. It is insane. Let's consider that, okay? So in that case, wouldn't the most sane thing to do be to adopt a worldview that is beneficial to you? I don't know. But I heard from another friend that said, you know what? I got into something like that, or I believed like that. And then, you know what? One day I woke up and I realized, what am I doing to myself? What the heck am I doing to myself? I just jumped on another timeline. I just jumped on a different timeline. I go, I don't subscribe to that belief anymore. It was like, for her, it was just like that instant. That's a miracle. That's a miracle. That's a definition of a miracle. The miracle establishes in your mind that you dream a dream and none of its content is truth. Okay? So any part of it, whenever any part of it is established as untruth, that's a miracle. So that's what happened for my friend who got immediate and sustained relief. No need. So we set up an illusion within an illusion. We basically set up an illusion within an illusion. We train these people by way of our thinking. We train these people who seem to be running the show to be telling us what to do. Isn't that awesome? I freaking love it. Knowing that it is, if you don't know it's your own mind, then you're like, fuck. But it's like, I love it. It's like, watch all the ways all throughout the day where you're tempted to trade your sovereignty for duality. Watch how you're not willing to claim your sovereignty in your own mind. One of my friend sent me an email, and they said, hey, I really admire your mind and your drive and your passion and your this and your that, but something about spiritual pontificate. Can you separate those two? Can you just separate those two? I'm not interested in that at all. And, here's the thing, you guys. This isn't something that is like woo woo, airy fairy kind of stuff. Like, I'm pointing out to you why we have a perception of a world in the first place. Like, whatever it doesn't matter if you're going to do any kinds of activism or anything like that. That's all good. I mean, and I support that. That's awesome. If that's your path, awesome. It was my path for a year and it was awesome. I recommend it if you're called to it. But the main focus here needs to be, because this is samsara, it goes on around in circles. The main focus here needs to be to healing the misperception, healing the underlying thought, the underlying belief that causes us to misperceive a world where it seems like sickness and death can happen. That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. It's silly. So, yeah, whenever anyone's sick, and it's so funny because whenever anyone comes up to me and goes, I'm sick, and it's like, okay, I know you're not sick. And I've had a bunch of experiences myself, because I started to look at it this way probably about 5 years ago. And I've had a bunch of experiences myself where I've thought I was sick, like I'm getting symptoms and all this other stuff, all different kinds of sick. I mean, tummy ache, throat, whatever, and going, okay, and using the perception that I'm sick as if I'm sick for awakening my mind, for looking, watching. When there's a perception of sickness, all kinds of delusional thoughts come up. It's amazing. It's like a gold mine of opportunity. It is a gold mine of opportunity. That's why I'm like, it's not that I'm saying I won't get COVID. I'm saying getting COVID isn't really possible. Will I get the perception of COVID? That depends on whether I need it. I don't even wish to have a say in that. I don't wish to have a say in that. If I need it, I'll get a perception of it. If I don't need it, I won't get a perception of it. And I'm certainly not going to try to do anything to avoid it. I'm not getting a call like that would be anything meaningful at all. So that's fun. Yay, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. You are not. Oops, typo. Okay. Yeah, fuck is right. I was sucked into it again. Oh, okay. See, the typo came after that comment. This is weird. This is like the way it's. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Oh no. Yeah. Basically, we cannot create anything here because this world is not creation, it's dreaming. Our creative power here is only in a choice. We make a choice between making the dream world into our reality or acknowledging that truth is the only reality. So I've answered a few questions recently, and that was fun. I had a really fun post on Facebook. I don't know if you guys all saw it. It was right on my regular personal homepage. So yeah, it's I did this post. If you think this world was created by God, or that you are creating here, maybe ask yourself, would a benevolent creator be capable of creating sickness and death? See, that's the thing. The creator creates with mind, right? There's only mind, and mind is thought. So a benevolent creator is only capable of having benevolent thoughts. Benevolent thoughts. The thing is, we thought ourselves to be something else, and we, given free will, and this is where our free will comes in. Given free will, we're able to think in terms of malevolence. We're able to think in those terms because we have the free will to do so. Like, if we wish to get the perception that we're guilty, then we have the free will to make those thoughts real and really believe that they are true. So yeah, I know it's really difficult for people to see that this world is not created, because the sense, that body sense, it seems so real. Everything seems as if it's outside of ourselves, and it's not. It's not even outside of ourselves. So, we make it as if, since we perceive it outside of ourselves, then that must be the case. It's like, how naive, how fucking naive, really. I get a perception of it. What is a perception? What is that? Look at what a perception is. How can you use that as proof that that thing is there? How can you use that as proof? How can you, with all honesty, use that as proof when the world is a result of your self-concept and a result of a feeling sense? Anything that you use as proof to show me that this world exists fails because of its foundation in the first place. It's not, it does not exist. It's a projection. And the sooner we recognize it's a projection, the sooner it's going to heal. And, I like to use the term we lightly. The word we, is that a term? I don't know. The word we lightly, because like I shared yesterday at the Sovereign Sunday, how many of us does it take? How many does it take? How many purified minds does it take to see through the illusion? You know what the answer is? It's one. It's you. It's just one. No one's here. You're getting the perception that there are things and people here. There's nothing here, though. You don't have to pretend that it's here in order to participate. You're going to be made to participate anyways, in whatever way you're made to participate in playing out your mind. You don't have to have a say in that. And you don't have a say in it, but you think you have a say in it. And in thinking you have a say in it, it makes that seem true for you, like you do have a say in it. So, yeah, I know it's kind of controversial, and I kind of notice how I get, put in situations. I find myself in situations where people feel attacked and think I'm making controversy. I'm actually not trying to attack anyone or make controversy. And, I guess, I can be used for stuff like that because I really don't mind it. Actually don't mind it. I think it's kind of sweet. I think it's kind of sweet. I'm like, aw, that's so cute. Yeah. And I only entertain whatever information I want to entertain. Like I don't have to go and look at the news. Like I don't need to go and look at the news and see what's going on with that. And I'm just watching. Whenever I find myself being drawn into anything, whatever it is, cooking, whatever, yoga, it's like I'm watching the motivation. Motivation, it only comes in the moment. That's a choice. What's the motivation? Ego or spirit? Don't have to change anything, and you're not capable of changing anything about the direction you're being moved. Not looking for any improvement on the surface, not looking for any improvement on the surface, just looking for a deeper sense of relaxation. And that's the same when you're dealing with anyone who is pretending that they're sick. And anyone who's sick, who thinks they're sick, is pretending like they're sick. See, I'm still conditioned to say that's why that slips out like that. Anyone's sick, they'll just like, I'm conditioned that slips out like that. Over time, that'll just change on its own. I don't have to try to do anything. As the self-belief gets undone, that changes. So that's a matter of teaching and learning, which occurs only in my mind. It's with every perception. There's a choice being made. And when I first started along this path and I was perceiving myself getting sick, I would just go, that is not the case. That cannot be the case. And it doesn't matter what the symptoms are. And it almost felt like kind of like a fight in my mind, a playful fight, because I knew that I'd win. But it was like, no, this is really real. And I'd have my reflections. The people around me would be like making the sickness real too. And it almost within me, it's almost like I had to push through this veil of resistance. Said, no, fuck that. No, that's not what's causing it. That's not what caused it. I'm making this up. I was practicing for a bit with, I'm making this up. Until I could see that I'm making it up and I could get the experience of those instantaneous healings too. Which, the manifest is only a reflection of the mind. So when we're attached to the manifest, like, oh, I really want that healing, it's like we're pushing it away because we're using that as a distraction to not see what we're using to hold it up. So it's like your mind gets open to what kind of thought constructs you're committed to, you're paying unconscious loyalty to uphold this world. That gets taught to you automatically when you're willing to get the perception, the body sense, without adding any concepts to it. So the whole ego temptation is to get you to add concepts to the body concept, that body construct. Okay. So that whole temptation is just right there in the moment. And the invitation is to sink in, open up, feel flexible with this sensation that's given you right now. One thing I'll notice for myself, and this may be different for other people, but I'll tend to get a little bit blocked up right in the solar plexus area. And I know that just like having and there is no solar plexus area too. Let's just say that there is no solar plexus area. So if you don't notice where you tend to get blocked up, no problem, no problem. It's like this seems to be, in my perception, an informational center. So it's like I like to put my attention right there and just kind of like let things know that they can relax. You know, that's the kind of relationship I have with my self-image, which includes my body and my projected mind. My projected mind is all about the kind of person that I am and all that kind of stuff. I require 8 hours of self-care every day. I'm that kind of person. I like to play the harp, but you know, like all that kind of stuff. That's a projected self-image. That's not who I am, you know. And then at the same time, it's not like something's wrong with it. It's just like it's innocent. It's innocent in all of it. It's like it is so innocent. So it's gonna react though. It's gonna react to whether you're condemning it or you're in acceptance of it. And you're not ever in between those two things. You're always one or the other. You're either in condemnation of your self-image, which includes your body and manifests as physical attacks like sickness, or you're in a healing mode. You're in acceptance of it. You're allowing the self construct to relax. Okay. And that might manifest, like for me, it's like there's a sense of allowing this self construct to relax. And it seems to manifest in a lot of kind of self-care, like massage, yoga, just like a really like easeful kind of relating with the world. And, you know, not like, let me get it done and stuff like that. And even noticing as, you know, I'm coming to the point in my business where it's changing right now. It's going to, you guys know Miracle Botanicals, awesome essential oils, most awesome essential oils in the world. Well, our web platform has run out of time. It's run out of contract time. And so we're going to something that kind of seems like an upgrade to the 21st century. It is really freaking fun. And I feel super inspired and stoked about it. Just super, super stoked. So here's the thing. When I get feeling like that, this kind of energy kind of like takes over. And it goes and it'll just be like there's this inspiration. They're just looking at something. So I find myself just like delving into this thing. Number one, to check it out, make sure that our company can run on it, all talking to the different people and everything like that. And I get so much energy for something like that. I'll just get so much energy for something like that. And the thing is, that energy is freaking awesome. With oversight, it tends not to take over. The thing is, the ego will take over that kind of energy. It'll be like, let's go really fast and stuff like that. With oversight, and there's this allowing to relax any tension and just kind of like a curiosity and a gentle excitement, letting a gentle excitement be there. You know, it's just like, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like we're going to be able to even service our customers even more and even better, and get our name out there more, and get our brand out there more, and get these essential oils to the people that can benefit from the plant medicine. This one is Malu, the one I'm playing with right now. It means serenity. It is beautiful. This is one I blended up for a friend, and we loved it so much. We made it into a product. So yeah. So it's so fun to share these this plant medicine with everyone, and people have asked me before, well, what do you mean by plant medicine? You're always saying that nothing has any effect. And it's like, yeah, it's true. Nothing has any effect, not even essential oils. What's amazing? When you inhale an essential oil, you project the aroma. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? So you're relating with the projected mind of the plant spirit. Basically, you're relating with this projected mind. And this is the interpretation you're making. This aroma is the interpretation you're making. Isn't that great? You love yourself. You could tell. You give yourself something like that. Give yourself a gift like that. See? It's like anything in the world that you perceive made manifest, that's actually a projected mind. And you're relating with it. A table, a computer, a car, a cup. It's like gratitude to everything. The empty space, that's also a construct. Okay? It's also a construct of emptiness. So it's like gratitude to all things. A gratitude to the earth, however you perceive it, whether that's round or flat, doesn't matter. Gratitude to whatever the perception brings. You are relating with the plant, the spirit of the plant. You are relating with the spirit of the table. You're relating with the spirit of your hair, the spirit of your lips. Everything is being projected and upheld by your self construct. And through your relating with them, you're either projecting that self concept out in time, as in making more time, or you're just allowing it to be as it is and accepting whatever manifestation, whatever likes, dislikes, preferences, quirkiness, whatever. Maybe you're one of those. Maybe you're one of those that goes, man, I just feel anxious all the time. I feel so anxious. I love that about myself. I love that I feel so anxious. This is amazing. And I am powerful. I'm not even capable of feeling anxious. And I'm able to project a feeling and make it seem like I'm getting anxious. This is a fucking amazing. I cannot believe how powerful I am. You don't get touched by any of this stuff, by any of these perceptions that you have. Those never touch you. They're only there for learning, for helping to reveal who you are. They're not going to be revealed who you are by your own interpretation. You got to get a different interpretation than the one you made. You're misinterpreting. It's never going to be lovable the way you made it. It's like you give up the way you made it. Like if you really think that you are the way that you perceive yourself, you're never going to be able to love yourself. Because the way you perceive yourself is guilty. The way you perceive yourself is faulty. So it's like you got to allow that love that is yours, that is your birthright, to kind of envelop you and hold you in all of those feelings. One way A Course in Miracles puts it, which I like, I really resonate with this one, is take all of your worries, concerns, feeling of upset to the Holy Spirit. Take it to the Holy Spirit. Share them with the Holy Spirit. If you're not familiar with the term Holy Spirit, or that sounds weird to you, I don't blame you. There's some weird ass conditioning going on. Use spirit guide, whatever You can even put a name on it. I've had a friend who put Homer Simpson on it just to be like fun and light about it. Someone who has your best interest. It's someone who has your best interest. It's not a human, but it's a being that has your best interest in mind, who knows who you are and what you're worthy of, and also knows who you think you are and what you think you're worthy of. That's your guide. That's your given guide. So what A Course in Miracles is talking about is share all of your fears, all of your sufferings, all of everything with him, which you don't have to take the word him. Okay. Put her in there. I know we're conditioned to like judge all words and everything like that. But like, kind of like try to look beyond them or put her in there to feel better for temporary or whatever. There's no him or her. Okay. Maybe someday someone will translate A Course in Miracles so it uses all her. Everywhere with it says sun, it says goddess. It doesn't matter. Maybe there's a version you can bring into like PDF and just do a quick search and replace. Wherever it says sun or he, turn into goddess, and I don't know. You get be creative with it. See? Because it doesn't matter. The thing is that you will share your upsets, your misbeliefs with that guide. See, what we're doing is holding our misbeliefs in secret. We're even trying to make them secret from ourselves. But the thing is, every secret that we're keeping secret from ourselves is not a secret from consciousness. So it's still there's still consciousness of it. Consciousness is still conscious of it. Let's put it that way. So you're trying to keep it secret from yourself, but it isn't really a secret. It's not really a secret. You're trying to keep it secret from yourself. When you keep it secret from yourself, you're also keeping it secret from your spirit guide. What you want to do is expose that secret by sharing your upset feelings with your spirit guide. So this spirit guide is not separate from you. But since your mind is already projected as if it's separate, this is a valid way of getting in alignment with your guide. Okay? Because you think you are separate from your guide and you think you're separate from God. So this is a valid way. And I'm saying this anytime you're upset, that's what you think, myself included. Anytime I'm upset, that is exactly what I fucking think. So I go okay, I need help with this. Holy Spirit, I need help with this. Whatever you want to say. You can even just say God. God, I need help with this. Whatever. Doesn't matter what name you give it. Jesus, whatever. I've done Jesus. It works every time. Doesn't matter what name I use. Next time I'm going to try Homer Simpson and I'll report back to you how that worked. I'm sure it's going to be fine. The point is if you're asking for relief, then you're going to get relief. If you're asking for something else, you're going to get something else. That's just how that goes. Okay, it's all it's all what you decide. You are the one who decides. Okay, let's see. I have I've had some fun questions. I'm going to go back to this post on my page because I definitely had some fun questions on there. So I said, hey, it's like once we realize that this world is not created, you can make this choice. You've got a choice. And the thing is, as long as there is a belief that God created sickness and death, you cannot conceive of this choice I'm talking about. That's the thing. If you think that God created this, then you're thinking in terms of its inevitability, like God is somehow going to save you from it, going to save your body from it. But then, still there's death. You don't see him saving anyone from death, do you? You know why God isn't saving anyone from death? Because he doesn't know about it. It's a secret. It's a secret dream. God's not capable of thinking in those terms. God doesn't know about this. God doesn't know about this, what would be considered an evil dream. It's an evil dream. You know why? Because you believed with the ego. You're still believing with the ego. We all are. We're dreaming an evil dream. We're still believing with the ego. So our goal in dreaming an evil dream would be to undo the evil that makes the dream, which is basically thoughts that are thinking against you. No one's evil. No one's guilty. The thoughts themselves and the ego, which we set up, not guilty, not evil, because we set it up. We set the ego up, okay, to interpret this world as if we're separate. All those thoughts that come from the ego are evil. We set it up that way. We set that up. All the thoughts that we think with the ego have to do with separation, have to do with making separation. They have to do with justifying fear, justifying disease, justifying conflict, justifying anger. That's the sickness. That's an insanity. So our decision is not eternal. Our decision to make this world, to make an evil world, to block our sight of reality, that decision doesn't last forever. I mean, eventually we change our mind. That's how the story ends. I can be certain of that. Then eventually we change our mind about that and go, shit, I don't want to be making that up anymore. Like my friend who thought he had cancer. And at first he was so defensive about it. But then he was like, I don't want to make this cancer up anymore. I don't have any use for this anymore. He starts to see how he's actually using it to perpetuate an illusion, perpetuate this world. It's a sick sense of self. And then even the doctors confirm there's no cancer right now. They weren't expecting that. That didn't go along with what they expected to happen. That didn't go along with their projections. In fact, he said they showed their projections and the projections went along like this, but his white blood cells went like that. He didn't need to manifest a cancerous body anymore. He had no use for it. That's the thing. Then the only way we're going to manifest a sick body is thinking that we have a use for it, that has some kind of value. It's an election. It's actually thinking that it has some kind of value. Now, look, these thoughts are hidden from yourself. So you have to be willing to know what they are before they're going to be revealed to you. You have to be willing to look there. When people get inflicted with an insane perception of sickness, the last thing they want to be willing to look at is their misperceptions. So it takes a certain amount of oomph, especially when you're getting that sense that, man, you don't have any energy. You know, when you're getting the perception of sickness, you always get the perception, I don't have any energy. That's why it's really helpful to lift each other up. That's why I recommend, man, if for one, if you're close to me and you think you're sick, invite me over. I'd like to just be with you, and remind you that you're not, just to remind you that you're not sick. And whether or not you get the perception of yourself having an instantaneous healing or not, your mind is open and absorbing this kind of information too, in the midst of all these misperceptions, and the information doesn't have to be in words. In fact, the information that we share is really beneath the words. It's not even the words themselves. It's just in noticing that we don't need to hold this thing up. We can use each other to lift each other up. Like we could lift each other up. Someone goes, oh man, it seems like I'm sick. Okay, let me get on the phone, find like 9 other people, all go over there and let that person know they're not sick. It's okay. Treat them like a mental patient. They are a mental patient. They're not really a physical patient. They're a mental patient. Oh, Leah, Leah said, thank you, Hopi, for lifting me up. Yeah, I went to hang out with Leah like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And I tell you, it was just so beautiful. Leah is very receptive. She's like, she's receptive to some touch and just hanging out with and being in the energy. And I'll tell you, it's like when you're present with someone for uplifting them, you get so uplifted. It's such a blessing to yourself, and it's such a gift. I mean, it's like I feel super grateful for Leah that she let me go over there and hang out with her. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate you. And she's like, and she's willing to be uplifted, and she's easy to joke around with. I kept on reminding her how she's faking it, and she was super light about that. I was going out one time when I spent the night. The last time I spent the night, I was going out to a women's bathing thing. We're all bathing in these warm waters that come up from the ground, and just loving each other up, sound healing, all that kind of stuff. And Leah said, I bet you're going to tell them that I've been faking it. And I'm like, you're damn right I am. Of course I'm going to tell them you've been faking it. You don't need a bunch of people acting like you're sick, totally feeding into that kind of energy. It's so funny. It's like, she's been faking it the whole time. They're like, oh, thank goodness. And people know I'm close to Leah, so they'll come up to me with this concerned face. Like they'll go, how's Leah doing? And I was like, oh, she's doing awesome. And they're like, is she feeling better? And I go, well, I heard her say she's feeling better, but the whole time she's been faking it anyways, right? And they're like, yeah, yeah. That's freaking awesome. Everyone I've told so far has really enjoyed that. They're really happy. They're really happy that that's the case, that Leah is faking it, and that sickness can't really get her, because that means that sickness can't really get them too. It's not like it comes like sickness comes from the outside and attacks you. Like even if you get the perception of that, say the coronavirus, that little microscopic thing that they're calling the coronavirus, say it grows and it's like 6 feet tall, and it's this coronavirus is like physically rolling through freaking wherever you live, and you're having to avoid it. You're like running away from it, and it comes over and it like fully mauls you down, right? And you're all of a sudden you're just covered in coronavirus, and it's all slimy and everything. And even in that case, you're you're making it up. It can't touch you. It can't touch you. In fact, check this out. This is really interesting. I don't know what branch of science this is. I don't remember, but I learned this a long time ago. In the illusion, scientifically speaking, nothing ever touches anything. Even if you go like this, and it feels like your hands are touching. You can feel them. You can rub them together. They get hot. They get friction, right? Friction, hot, all that stuff. Science shows they never even touch. We're imagining all of the sensation between the things. They don't touch. Even when a knife cuts something, it never touches it. Space remains between the knife and however minute the space is. Space remains. It never touches it. We never touch anything. And in fact, our bodies are mainly a bunch of space. They're more space than anything. In the illusion. In reality, there's no body at all, space or not, space, matter, whatever. So basically, like it's symbolic though. Scientifically speaking, there's this body that we get a perception of being solid. It's not solid, even in their own testings. It's responding to a mind. All it's doing is responding to a mind. Leah said she was totally faking it. See? That's success right there. That's it. That's success because that is changing the way, and it's training our mind and showing our mind we're not going to accept this just because we're getting a perception that someone's sick. We're not going to we're not going to accept it. We're not going to believe it just because it seems like I can't help but act like I'm sick. Just because it seems like I can't help but act like I'm sick, I know I'm faking it. Like for me, I just know I'm faking it because I've been through it enough times where I'm like, okay, let me see. And it's like so freaking insincere. And it's so wonderful too, because I see my friends being completely freaking insincere. They don't realize it. They don't see the insincerity itself. So what I do is I get a load of that sincerity, that insincerity, and I acknowledge that for them, not in a judgy kind of way. Not in a judgy kind of way. I just acknowledge that they are being insincere with themselves right now. It's not like you should be more sincere. I never told Leah that. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I never told her, Leah, you're being insincere. Stop faking it, Leah. No, it's good. It's fun. It's like you're faking it. I don't tell her to stop faking it. Just like you're faking it, just so you know. And who knows? Who knows what her mind would make of it, because your mind starts to go insane. You start thinking you're going to die and all these evil dark ass thoughts, and who knows what her mind might have made of it. If there's not kind of like a glimmer of some understanding that, hey, wait a second, I'm making this up. I've seen people go on, and heard of people who have gone on these trains where they get so scared. And in fact, she told me about friends calling her and telling her she has to go to the hospital. She has to go to the hospital right now. And, I've seen people go down that kind of path, and it's not the hospital per se. It's just like going on a path through fear. It keeps on multiplying the fear, and things seem to get worse and go down a really dark road for people. Even though some of them, the dark road ended in dying in the hospital, stuff like that. But Leah was just like, she was adamant. She's like, I don't want to be in any hospital, even if I'm scared. Like, I think she had a little conversation with herself. Like, even if I'm so scared that I'm going to die, I'm going to die right here. I'm not dying in a hospital. I had people telling me to go to the hospital. No way was I going. Yeah. So she's really strong in that way, where she was like, what are they going to do for me? Like, really? What are they going to do for me when I'm making this up? I mean, it's one thing if you're like going, okay, my freaking arm is falling off and I need someone to sew this thing on, and you're like, it's just obvious. You can't help it. You're cruising to the hospital. It's not like, it's just a thing, right? But this fear of like being, getting the sense that you're having flu symptoms, we've seen time and time again, like, that hasn't worked. I don't know why anyone would think that's gonna work. Like, it hasn't been working. People have been having much better success than just staying home. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, if the mind is clear, it's gonna just show that it wasn't there. It was never there. It was never there in the first place. It'll show you that. So lingering, if there's lingering sensations, you're having lingering sensations, you don't need to be, your mind doesn't need to be healed again. Just let those lingering sensations play themselves out and be the same kind of vigilant with watching your thoughts. Don't get discouraged by lingering sensations, lingering symptoms, because you set those things up to be kind of concrete. So through that perceiving where it keeps on going on, where you seem to be still having symptoms, or symptoms seem to be carrying on for a longer period of time, just be the same kind of vigilant with those, because that's offering you even more opportunities for awakening through that. Also, it could be a pitfall if you start believing in it. Oh, that didn't work, or try to go, oh, it's just a fluke. It wasn't really healing. Well, the thing is, whenever you get release, that's healing. And there's only this moment. So there's only this moment that you can get healing in. You really can't get healing for a past moment, although you can be suffering over what you perceive to be a past moment, but that's always right now. So that's always a choice you would be making now. And you can change your mind about it also now. Isn't that so fun and easeful? So we're exchanging seeds, starting farmers markets around here. What else? Oh, starting schools, you guys, starting schools. Apparently, some of my friends, and it just came together for them so easily. Some teachers didn't want to force kids to wear masks. They left, started their own school, immediately filled up. The teachers are back to making money, and everyone's more stoked than they ever were. So things are really, we're showing like our creativity comes from within. And as we awaken the mind and open up to new possibilities, we're just going to see the new possibilities. The main thing is forget the old stuff. None of that stuff is even meaningful anymore. It's like, who cares? It kind of like reminds me of me going from my current platform that I have Miracle Botanicals on over to Shopify. It's like you can like upgrade to this century. You know what I mean? It's like upgrade to now. You don't have to accept that kind of bullshit. You don't have to accept that that's your freaking ruling class. You don't have a ruling class. You made that shit up. It's an illusion within an illusion. It seems to have power over you. It has no power over you. If you don't want to wear a mask or take a vax, guess what? You don't have to. You don't need that job. You never did. And what you find when you open up to the unknown, that's the thing. The mind is scared of the unknown. It wants to just stick to the known. You open up to the unknown. That's where all of your creativity is. And that's where all of your drive and all your passion and your truest expression is going to be found. So don't be afraid of that. Okay. Let's see. Damn, my symptoms went on for like a month. Nothing made a difference. I love that part, Leah. That was like my favorite. I just loved that. Leah took everything. She was on it. She had the ivermectin, everything that would like take care. And boy, was that perfect, because then Leia's like getting thoughts like, oh my God, I said all this shit about it. What if I was wrong and I'm really going to die and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, man, that is just perfect. That is just the best. All your cures that you're like touting, saying that if you get COVID, just get these things. And then none of them work. And then you're like, damn, I really don't even need these things. And it's like, yeah, look at the blessing. This is such a blessing. It's like it's like a slayer of misbelief all over the place, just like chopping it down. Yeah, I know it's painful. I know you're going through it, but it's just like chopping this shit right off. Like none of that stuff is even meaningful. Nothing made a difference, really, whether I took meds or not. And I did and didn't do anything, everything. I know. I love it. I love that you got to see that. It's like it's like you opened up to get a perception that it is complete chaos. You opened yourself up to that. You're just seeing that nothing matters, nothing works. I've had that too, and I just loved it. Once the symptoms seem to finally go away, I know it's not anything that did it. And I know it's not anything in the world. What a total trip. Yeah. And sickness it's kind of like an acid trip. You're like perceiving something that's totally impossible. It's a total acid trip. It's like a scary acid trip. It's a bad trip. What's wrong with you? I'm having a bad trip right now. Seems like this thing is fucking up. Which I know is impossible. Yeah, it's a bad dream. It's a nightmare. That's why I call it, one of my friends said, hey, can you put this into some kind of terms that I can understand? Because when you say it's a sinful dream, I don't understand. What do you mean a sinful dream? Bad dream is another good word for it. And another good word for it is impossible. This dream is impossible. It's not possible for the things that we perceive to be happening to actually occur in reality. It's sinful because it denies, it's built on a denial of the fact of the matter that you are infinite, all loving, all powerful, and incapable of sin of any kind. You're incapable of doing anything that would justify a guilty feeling. But you are capable of making yourself out to be guilty and believing that it's true. And this world is a result of that. This world is a result of doing that to yourself. Okay. So as you go through these worldly perceptions, your mission in it is to undo the thought that you could ever be guilty. Your mission is that is to undo that thought. Now, forgiveness is so important in that, because there's no one but you. Those ones that you think are outside of yourself are you, and they're not capable of doing anything to you unless you authorize it. They are not capable of doing anything to you unless you authorize it. That is how sovereign you actually are. Okay. What I mean by you're trading your sovereignty for duality is that you're giving that up and making your perception of them as if they're outside of yourself to be your reality. And when you do that, you make them into a threat. Okay. But really what you're doing is threatening yourself and making yourself guilty. You're making yourself out to lack innocence. And in that, you're going to be afraid of worldly consequences, which also don't exist. But because you become afraid of guilty consequences, they seem to exist and they seem to come upon you without your permission or your authorization. They seem to be just imposed upon you. So I like to apply that all the way across the board. And those of you who've known me for a while have known that I have been perceiving challenges. And I say perceiving challenges because I cannot be challenged. I'm not something that can be challenged. I'm not really capable of being challenged. But I perceive challenges. I have perceived challenges in anything that has to do with technology, in relating to my business, or hopejohnson.org or anything like that, because it just seems like a major pain in the ass. Like it doesn't seem to go right. So I've had my eye on that for a long time, like really looking at it and even coming to, wow, like a huge, wow, it looks like I did this whole thing for naught, because it turned out so bad. I had to scrap the whole project. At the end of the project, I spent a bunch of money and I ended up scrapping the product. And I just couldn't have been more grateful for having that perception. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need. I know that that the goal isn't to improve my business or anything like that. That's only the seeming goal. That's the setup goal for movement, for manifestation. That's the seeming goal. The goal in all of it is awakening my mind to the truth that is. So I used that perception through the whole thing. Once I noticed it wasn't going to work and I had to back out of it, that was another couple day process where it was like a lot of hours, like 15-hour days too, to back out of it. And just like feeling so much gratitude for the whole thing, and nice connectedness with all of the people involved in it, even the people who advised me and seemed to have advised me wrongly, like seemed to have made a mistake, like they didn't realize that I already had something that was way better than what they sold me on. It's like that's also the way I set them up to relate with me, because that's what I wanted. I wanted that kind of intensity in that moment. So it's like I have experienced a different relationship, a different way of relating with all of that as well. And in seeing how it's such an easeful thing. And now I'm going into a majorly technologically in-depth project again. I'm switching platforms, and those of you who don't know, but switching a platform it seems to be an extensive, expensive, and time-consuming project. So I'm super excited to go through another kind of project like that. And that's just the way I look at everything, whatever it seems like. If it seems like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford this, or it seems like I don't have enough money for something or something like that, I'll just approach everything in the same way. I'll share any kind of my feelings of confinement, like I can't do something, fear, like I'm not going to be able to do something, anything that feels upsetting. I'll just hand it over to the spirit and relax with everything that's coming up, because it is coming up. It's not really coming at you, it's coming up through you. It's more like that. It's like it's bubbling up. The perception is like bubbling through you, like ah. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk at the Sovereign Seed Exchange Sovereign Sunday this past Sunday. I don't think some of the people there were expecting the talk to be quite what it was about. I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me and sticking with it. I know it seemed like it was really confusing at first, and some people were like, oh, they finally go, oh, this is okay, I get it. And there was one woman there who was talking about how she has been stressing out for the past 20 months, and she just decided that she doesn't need that. She doesn't need to participate in it. She realized, wow, I don't need anything. I don't need to go anywhere where they need me to wear a mask either. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. That's just, to me, that's just a sign that that's not my place. That's not where I hang out. It's not a problem. I love it. I love the people, and I appreciate the people. When they tell me that I have to wear a mask to patronize their establishment, I just thank them. And then I go to somewhere else or go home or whatever. Sometimes they'll be apologetic to me. I'll be like, no, it's okay. It's all right. I don't need to be here. No problem. My friend saw that. She was like, oh gosh, how easy. Last Monday, I went to see the lava. Remember I told you guys, if you were with me last Monday, I was going to the lava with a friend of mine. It was amazing. My friend was just telling me how she gets into fights every single day, because when someone tells her to wear a mask, she immediately goes, I'm a healthy person. So she gets in fights every day. I think she stopped. She was getting in fights every day. She's like, I'm just tired of this. And I go, have you ever said health exemption? And she goes, no, what does that do? And I go, well, it gets you into a lot of places. And then, if they don't let you in, you can just like not get in a fight about it, just like leave. I mean, that's a form of activism. That just, it happens to be the way that I'm moved, and something that I also do not have a choice in, so it's like, even my example of doing certain things or whatever, you don't have a choice in whether you do it. You may get inspired by it, and your consciousness may play that out in you, but you don't really make a choice in that, and neither do I. You know, I just don't feel like that just doesn't feel welcoming to me. It doesn't feel like a place I want to go. I'm not interested in wearing something that's a symbol of sickness. Like, so like we can make each other sick. We can't. It's like, to me, it's okay, I subscribe to the insanity. Okay, I subscribe to insanity. Let me subscribe to some insanity so I can get some Thai food over here or something. I might have just blinked in and out. Sorry about that, guys. I touched a certain button and it did that. So we go up there and the volcano is just like going off. It is badass for one thing. It's a huge crater. I heard it's a mile wide. I think that's probably right. It looks like it's huge. There's an obvious eruption coming up, and then a big lake around it. This big sparkly lake. So the first thing we're like, we're hungry. Let's go get some food. So the volcano house that's right there, like you could see the cauldron from that restaurant. They have awesome food there. That is like some good chefy good food. It's really good. So we're both like, well, we don't know if we're gonna eat anything there. And I'm like, well, I don't need to eat. Like, basically, I hadn't eaten all day, but I can just like keep on going without eating. Why? It's just I just know that's not a thing. Probably, I just know that that's not a thing. It's as soon as food, I don't have to look for food. Like, food will just like pop up. It'll just occur to me. It's food. It's time for food. Okay. So we cruise in there, and there's a sign like right at the door telling you like, you're the worst person if you don't wash your hands, and wear a mask and do all this stuff. So there's a huge sign. We walk right by it. My friend's kind of lagging behind. I'm like, it's okay, come on. And we go in there, and everyone's wearing a mask, and we get asked to wear a mask, and I let them know we both have a health exemption, and they just help us. And also, it's like something clicks. It's like something clicked. As soon as I said health exemption, they just became extremely friendly. And they helped us, and they said, we don't have a table right now. We'll have a table in 2 hours. Go check out the lava, come back. So we got great. It was great. There was a lot of people there. We had to park kind of far away. We're hiking 2.5 miles. I almost said 2.5 hours. It definitely wasn't that. It was 2.5 miles. And it's a easy hike. It's paved. It's a paved hike. They paved it. So I know, isn't that good? Well, it's wheelchair accessible. That's freaking awesome. Like, if you're in a wheelchair, you're like, damn, thanks for paving that. I can go right up to the lava. Or right up to the view of the lava. You're not going right up to the lava. So it's a nice, beautiful photos. If you want to check it out, it's on my personal Facebook page. My friend took photos and tagged me in that, and awesome photos. Anyways, when we're getting up to the viewing area, first of all, well, let me go back to when we entered the park. I'm over there paying for a year pass because I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm coming back to see this again. And the person keeps on taking down her mask to talk to me. She's in this little booth, right? She keeps on taking down her mask to talk to me. And I'm like, thank you so much for taking down your mask. I really appreciate they're getting some fresh air. And if you haven't heard of it, check out getunmasked.com, because it looks like it's a kind of mask everyone loves, but you're breathing free through that thing. She looked at me so scared. It was the cutest look. Like she was going to get in trouble just for hearing that. Like just hearing that could cost her job, it looked like. So I'm like, anyways, thank you, goodbye. and so then so then we drive like I don't know, like 50 feet, and then there's a big lit up sign, wear a mask. I'm just cracking up. So there we are, in the volcano house. We already had all this conditioning. We've been conditioned at the gate. We've been conditioned by the signs, all the signs. We've been conditioned by all the other people walking around in masks. Still, we're walking through those fucking doors, no mask on. And then out at the volcano viewing area, there's a huge sign, you guys. I think they were even lighting it up because you could see it in the dark. It was new moon. I think it was new moon, right? Or close to it. So we don't have much of a moon. We don't have a bunch of light out there, but the sign was like huge and you could see it in the dark. And it said to wear a mask out at the viewing area. And you know what was great there? That was a different story. Barely anyone was wearing a mask out there. That was a very rare person. And you know what else was really fun? Those guys that were doing the parking, that was because the parking needed to be directed. Like they have to, while it's busy like that, and they're doing a really good job too, directing the traffic. It needs to be directed. It'd just be a total goat fuck back there, right? It just needs to be like slowed down and directed. They are cruising around with their nose out or down here. Like no one's tripping. I think people start tripping out about what other customers are going to think and stuff like that. I did have someone tell me to wear a mask today. It was so cute. I barely ever get that anymore, but I was just over checking my mail in the mail place, and she walked by me and I had my back turned. I was opening my box and she was by me like she was already out, and she's like, wear a mask, and then just keeps on walking. And you know, it's like a little bit of love just shoots over there. There's no over there really, and that's why, you know, it's like, oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. You know, she didn't really want to have a confrontation with me. She just wanted to say something and go, you know. And you know, I'm not interested in having a conversation. Yes, fine. Confrontation with anyone either. And I don't have confrontations with anyone. It doesn't matter how confrontational they are. I just don't have confrontations with them. And you know, there's never any reason to become confrontational. There's the sense that something is a threat. You get the sense that something is a threat and use that as justification for being confrontational, but that's not really a real justification. Your perception of a threat doesn't make a threat real. Your perception is complete nonsense. I mean, that mine too. I'm not saying just yours, mine too. It's complete nonsense. It's images of what's not really here and was never ever possible. Yay. So I'm checking if I have any questions, and then I'm gonna be winding down. So if you guys have questions, ask me. If there's something that you would like me to talk about, happy to talk about that. You know, I love it. Looks like we are caught up on all questions. Look at that. Go, ah, oh, you want me to talk about my hair? Okay. So Leia's talking about, I got so excited. I still am pretty freaking excited about this. So my hair, it's been going through some different kind of things where it would be like kind of heavy, like this heaviness. And, you know, there's still a little bit of heaviness going on. Thanks, Celia. There's still a little bit of heaviness going on here, but I feel like this sense like it's light. And it feels light, and I'll show it to you too. And every time I wash it again, it gets lighter. Isn't that fun? So, and the color of it even looks lighter. And it seems like a lot of the film that has been on it has been coming off of it. So I got really excited about that. And I called Leia. I was like, oh my God, it's like I got new hair. It's light. It feels like a light sheet instead of like a heavy thing. Anyways, I don't know how I got there or how it popped up in front of me, but all of a sudden I was looking at a hair bar, a bar of hair shampoo, a bar of it. And it was specifically for fine limp hair. Now I got a shitload of hairs. There's a lot of hairs there, but they seem to be fine. And I saw the reviews and people were saying that their hair has been transformed. It does kind of work over time. I noticed that. Where I'll still notice like there's some stickiness that's starting to come out, almost like it was attached to the hair follicle. And each time it gets a little bit lighter, and even the color got lighter. My friend's like, how is your hair color lighter? I'm like, yeah, it released some of that stuff, so it looks lighter. Yeah, I'm ridiculously stoked. And what product is this? Let's see. I got it on Etsy. Sorry for all you guys that this doesn't make any sense to. I got it on Etsy, and it's here. Hold on, I'll tell you. I'm really good at this. I can see it really fast what it is. It's a shampoo bar, and it's called Seaweed and Lemongrass. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put a link in here. I don't like make any commission off of this or anything. Like, if you can always go on there and buy Miracle Botanicals essential oils on Etsy too. But for this one, I'm not related with this in any way. I just really like it. So I put a link there for anyone. And friends on Facebook, if you guys want to know, just let me know. I'll let you know there too. But you know, it's funny because Leia was like, I didn't realize your hair was that bad. And I was like, no, it's not like it was that bad. It's just like when I see what it can be, I'm like, oh, wow. It's like all of this heaviness is coming off of it now. It's not like it's that bad. It's like you just open up and see things. And see, I got some little gray hairs coming in, and they're actually curly. The rest of my hair is straight. So it kind of looks kind of trippy, but that's fun. I'm excited about that. Oh, thank you, Constance. Thank you so much. Yeah, so anything like, and that's a good one too. I know we've been talking about wrinkles before and stuff like that. So anything has to do with your appearance, beauty, anything like that. If you feel like you're looking toward you're looking toward healing the mind, all of those things that you need to kind of like help you, like comforting for you and all that kind of stuff, they kind of just like come into your experience. And you know, I have friends too who seem to like give me such gems of, you know, things that are just like, oh, that's so nice. Like the shampoo, for instance, it's like $7. It's like probably you can make it yourself once you like realize what the heck this is, you know. And you don't need bottles of shampoo, and it lasts for like, I don't know, however many bottles of shampoo, probably a lot. I think it's that people are saying it's like a lot of bottles of shampoo, one little bar. And then, you know, just like relaxation techniques, any of that kind of stuff that you need. It's just going to be shown to you. It just gets shown to you. You don't have to like pound the payment for it, or, oh my God, how am I going to get, you know, like for me, I just like experience whatever I'm experiencing. I have the experience, whatever I'm experiencing. I'm noticing for some time that my hair is getting limper and limper and limper, and I'm just noticing it. And I'm going, okay, what's going to happen here? Is it going to go short? What's it going to do? And then just watching, it's like, it's kind of like a game, you know, it's like a fun game. Now it looks like it's getting curly and gray, which is kind of fun. It's like straight right now, and the part is curly and gray. What's under there? Look at that. So cute. Right, next thing you know, I'm curly and gray. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But the thing is, what it's for, the perception is for undoing the thought of separation. So the perception of itself gets more pleasing. A Course in Miracles refers to that as the happy dream. The happy dream. So the perception itself, it becomes more pleasing. It's like this world that you have a perception of, once you're using it for awakening your mind, it's like this whole world is serving you. Once you're not trying to get anything out of it, it's like this whole world is serving you. And there's lots of things to get excited about, nothing that needs to get attached to. Like, I'm not attached to my hair. I'll be fine if it goes short, if it goes bald. I have one friend who works for me, and she's got a bald head. Like her hair just doesn't grow hair except for like a little patch, like right up here, which is kind of fun. Sometimes she just lets that grow like a waterfall, but she has tattoos on the side, and I think she just looks badass. I think she looks freaking badass. You know, this idea like even attached to a limb or something. We don't need to be attached to anything here because we're dreaming it. And you know, at the end of the dream, it just rolls up and it's nothing. There's not anything. So if we're focused on using the mind to awaken, or using the perception, this perception of this world, which is basically using the world, using all the bodies, using everything for awakening our shared mind, it's like it's serving us. It's and really in a kindly way. It's really nice. Things just come to you that you need exactly as you need it. Marina says, yay for shampoo bars. She's probably like, you just found out about that shit. Well, let me remind you, Marina, that you only know what you need to know when you know it. I love you. Thank you. I'm sure you're like a way more seasoned natural hippie than me. You probably knew about that since you were like a little kid. I'm just finding out about it. Isn't that for fun? You're like, Hope, you're behind the times. Yeah, you probably find out I'm behind the times on a lot of things. I got a lot to learn, of course. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you. Yeah, and you know, I love watching myself get excited too. Like when I find the shampoo and I'm walking around and I'm like going like this. Cause you know, just that feeling, I'm getting this feeling that's like really light and stuff. I'm going like this and I'm really excited. And I'm always watching myself though, even though I'm so playfully excited, I'm just like, so like, oh yeah, yay. It's like a new Hope to play with. She's got a new hairdo. She's got new hair. This is so fun. How's this gonna go? And who knows? You know, we don't really know everything. Like, and you know, I could not even see it coming that the hair shampoo is all of a sudden gonna seem to result in myself, like my hair getting completely fucked up, like completely like a mess, right? Like a complete mess. And I wouldn't even realize that, you know, that like that's coming. But if it did come, it would be the very best thing that could possibly happen. You know what I mean? Because of what it's for. So it's like I'm open for everything too, and I'm just watching it. Yeah, years ago. Oh, thank you, Amy. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. Apparently, Amy, I can't help doing wisdom dialogues, you know. I've tried to duck out of it a couple times, but I keep on coming back to it. So, yeah, I guess as long as people want to participate with me, it's just like it's fun, and I love to do it. And I love to hear your testimonies. It's really wonderful. I also have a website where I put testimonies up. So anyone who wants to send me a message giving a testimony, that's awesome too. I'm starting to put services, like paid services, up on my website. I'm still always going to offer one-on-one. I'm always going to offer one-on-one. You just, you know, might have to wait a little bit to get on my schedule at some point. I don't know, but I'm always going to offer one-on-one without any expectation of payment. Okay, we're just leaving it open. Hey, you can leave a donation if you like, but I'm not going to make an expectation of payment. And that's via Zoom or in person. I'm also going to start offering like a live-in kind of service where I can come to you for like 3 days, 7 days. You know, you can come to the island and I can come and stay where you're staying, or however that works, or go to your place, whatever it is. I've got a fee schedule for that kind of stuff too. Where, you know, for people who are interested in like, okay, total transformation, like let's just let's get immersed in what's really true here. Let's get immersed in what's really true. And to show you, like to look with the spirit with you, at the patterns that you're accustomed to playing out, so you see them. That's why once I leave, you can still see those patterns whenever they come up, and know about them, and in that let them be transformed. Okay, need to check out. Yeah, I haven't put it up there yet. I did do one kind of like just for a Course in Miracles teacher, or Course in Miracles people who want to kind of like deepen their experience through A Course in Miracles. I did one post like that on my website. Definitely going to do a generalized one too, because like I have a lot of different spiritual languages that I can communicate with people in, like A Course in Miracles is one of them. The Buddhist way of saying things, yogic, all different ways, and I kind of like communicate with people and on it in their language, in their chosen spiritual language, you could say, or not chosen spiritual language, the spiritual language that resonates with their conditioning, that will allow the teaching in. So I did one that's specifically for A Course in Miracles students, because I know people who have been involved in A Course in Miracles, some of them for like 20 years, and they're like still like, what does this freaking mean? So A Course in Miracles, one term that they have in A Course in Miracles is teacher of God, and that is the title of that particular article that isn't even on a tab yet on my site, because I don't know how to do it. Talking with web people about that. It's WordPress. But kind of like, according to A Course in Miracles, a teacher of God is basically anyone who accepts that role. And that's a role that I accepted back in probably 2015. I'm not sure completely of the year. That was a role that I accepted back in 2015. And I love A Course in Miracles. I'm really, I consider it my main teaching tool. I consider it my main teaching tool. Even right now, when I'm not even reading it and not even listening to it, it's like that one is very powerful. It's just that a lot of people don't get it, don't understand it, give up on it, whatever. So to help people who are inspired to go deeper into it, I could also take A Course in Miracles stuff and translate it over for you into another language. I could translate it into your spiritual language, not any worldly languages. No, only English, but into your spiritual language. And so that you can understand it and grok it. If you're sincerely open to it, the spirit is like ready to show you the way. And I'm kind of like a bridge in that, because it's not of myself at all. It's just that I've developed my ability to hear and listen to the spirit, such that I could do that on behalf of another person. Okay, so if you're wanting to know, and I'm willing to be that bridge, then that's what's going to occur. That's how it's going to go. So yeah, so that's fun too. I'm excited about anything that manifests or doesn't manifest out of that. I actually don't need to do any of that stuff. I was just inspired to put that stuff out there. Aloha, Carla. Lovely to hear from you. I love you. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Amy. I'm glad you're into it. Oh, Marina, you love changing it up. That's awesome. Thank you. We'll talk about that later. Okay. I want to hear about what you're changing it up to and stuff. I've really helped your understanding of the course. Oh, great. Thank you, Constance. Yeah, a lot of people tell me that too. And I don't have to be course centric either, because I don't understand them. I don't understand these concepts in a conceptual way. I actually know the concepts and know what they mean, and know how they resonate. So that's why I can interpret it into a different language, because it's not conceptual for me. It's like the concepts have been used to bring about a deeper understanding and a deeper meaning for me. So I'm happy to do that. So and also anyone who doesn't give a rat's ass about the course, doesn't matter. I don't have to use any course terms. It's not necessary, and it's like when I just hear open up to listen to the person, listen for the spirit's guidance. However they need to be taught is taught through me, not by me. Nothing's taught by me. I'm not the teacher. We share one teacher. We share the same teacher. So it's just like I've developed an ability to be a bridge for that. That's all. It doesn't come from me. It's not my teaching. You're the faucet, not the water. That's a good one. Thank you, Constance. I love that. Okay. Well, everyone, it's been really fun hanging out with you. I love you so much. I'll be back again next Monday right here, live on Facebook. It goes on to YouTube as soon as I get it up on YouTube, which is usually by the next day. Also, my recorded stuff is available without being on video. It's just audio. I guess you call it audio recorded stuff. Including the talk I gave yesterday on sovereignty at the Sunday Seed Exchange. That can be found at hopejohnson.org, Wisdom Dialogues tab. All of the recordings are right there, okay? You can sign up for my newsletter there. You're also welcome to donate. I appreciate your donations. That really is helpful. Definitely to do Zoom and stuff like that. I'm paying for that stuff. And yeah, I appreciate any kind of support. If you're buying essential oils, you're giving me a donation, you're just loving me up, you're just whatever, it's all good. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you all. Mahalo. Yay. Oh, you found me on the pattern. Yeah, find me on the pattern at Awesome Hope Johnson. That's the same one as it is on Instagram. I like that name. I love you guys so much. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.